Welcome to StudioCloud's tutorial on event, appointment, and session pipelines. In this tutorial, as well as in the StudioCloud program, event, appointment, and session pipelines are referred to simply as event pipelines. This tutorial is broken down into the following 4 sections. What are event pipelines? Examples of event pipelines. How to use event pipelines. How to set up event pipelines. First, what are event pipelines? A pipeline can be thought of as a task list where each task needs to be completed in a specific order. In StudioCloud, each task in a pipeline is called a pipeline stage. An event pipeline is made up of pipeline stages that need to occur in a specific order before or after an event. You can customize StudioCloud to have different event pipelines based on the type of event being scheduled. For example, you can have steps that need to be done for sessions and different steps that need to be done for sales sessions. Here is an example of a session pipeline with pipeline stages that occur both before and after the session. First, setup for session with a deadline 1 hour before the session. Second, move images off camera with a deadline 1 hour after session. In this example, the setup for session pipeline stage actually includes a lot of extra steps. However, they all happen at the same time, and as such are combined into one single pipeline stage. Here is a breakdown of everything that could be included in the setup for session pipeline stage. For example, adjust backdrop, adjust lighting, check camera batteries, and print off client details sheet. In StudioCloud, you would mark the setup for session completed, and it would automatically move to the next pipeline stage, which is move images off of camera. After the images have been moved off of the camera and backed up, you would mark that stage as completed, and at that point, the entire session pipeline would be completed. Here is how it looks when you schedule a session with a pipeline on the calendar. We're going to start by scheduling a session for Jeffrey Acey. The calendar type sessions has been pre-selected as the default, and the event pipeline setup for session is ready to go. We'll go ahead and click the Save button. Here is an example of a sales session pipeline which would include the following pipeline stages. Touch up images for sales session with a deadline 2 days before the sales session, and upload images to social media 5 days after the sales session. In this workflow example, the photography studio touches up the images before the client comes to the sales session. As such, the first pipeline stage is to make sure the images are touched up. The second pipeline stage is to upload the images to social media for marketing purposes. Here's how it looks when you schedule a sales session with a pipeline on the calendar. We're going to go ahead and schedule a new sales session for Jeffrey Acey 3 days in the future. Select Sales Session, we'll add the client, and as you can see, the event pipeline has already been associated with it because it is a sales session. We'll go ahead and click Save. There are various ways to mark a pipeline stage as completed. Those options are listed below. From the Edit Event, Session, or Appointment window, from the All Event Pipelines view, from the Individual Event Pipeline view, from the Overview page, from the Workflow view. We are going to step through each option so that you can see them in action. The first option is when you are editing the event. So we'll go ahead and edit the event we just created. Here in the Edit Event window, we'll go over to the Event Pipeline header and click the button below it. This window shows you all of the pipeline stages along with the actions available to you. You can mark a pipeline stage complete and it will automatically move to the next pipeline stage. Or you can activate a pipeline stage and it will skip all of the previous pipeline stages. The second option is to view all of the event pipelines at once. We'll go ahead and close this window, and then we'll go to the Event/Session Tracking tab. This view will show all of the event pipelines that are active regardless of whether they are a session pipeline or sales session pipeline. Under the actions, you can mark them completed or click the arrow and select from one of the other options. You have Skip Stage, Complete Pipeline, and Add Pipeline Stage Notes. If you need to view all the pipeline stages for a particular pipeline that is currently active, you can go ahead and click the Pipeline Stage Edit icon. Here, this brings us back to the view that we just saw, where we can see all of the current stages for this pipeline. The third option is to view just a specific event pipeline. So we'll close this window and we'll go to the individual event pipeline page. The column headers across the top are the different pipeline stages. As you mark a pipeline as completed, it will move from left to right. So we'll go ahead and select Session Pipeline. Here you can see the event that we made for Jeffrey AC earlier. To switch to a different pipeline again, we'll try the Sales Session Pipeline. The fourth option is to view the pipeline stages on the overview page. So we'll go ahead and click on the overview page. This will load all of the data that you currently view here, but here you can see pipeline stages due in the next 7 days. You can adjust the time frame to be more or less than 7 days by clicking on the Customize Overview button here. Similar to the All Event Pipeline View options, you can use the options here and have a variety of actions available, or you can click on the pipeline stage and see the entire pipeline. The final option is to view the workflow. Click on the workflow component here. From this view, you can see the lead tracking, session tracking, sales session tracking, and order tracking from one central location. To change the pipeline stage status, just click the name of the client. So we'll go ahead and click the name here for Jeffrey AC. And you can see here that we see the 2 pipeline stages. We could complete a stage or activate a new stage. Please refer to the workflow video on how to set up and use workflow. Now we are going to step through the process of setting up an event pipeline. This process involves 2 core steps. First, set up the event pipeline. Second, assign the event pipeline to a calendar type. First, let's set up the event pipeline. To set up the event pipeline, we'll first go to the calendar component, then select the Settings tab, and then click on Manage Event Pipelines. This view shows a list of all of the event pipelines for your account. To create a new event pipeline, just click the New Event Pipeline button. For this tutorial, we will be using the pre-built session pipeline for the session pipeline. This window contains a tab called Pipeline Details, which you can see here. You can edit the details by clicking on the Stages tab and editing the desired pipeline stage, or by adding a new pipeline stage. Now we already have a session pipeline set up, so we'll go ahead and close this window. The second step is adding the pipeline to the calendar type. To add the pipeline to the calendar type, begin by clicking the Manage Calendar Types button. You can go ahead and close this window. Here you can see we have the Sessions Calendar type with the event pipeline Session Pipeline. Because the session pipeline is associated with the Session Calendar type, it is automatically also associated with all of its calendar subtypes. You can see here are the calendar type session, here are the subtype names, and you can see that the session pipeline is assigned to each of these. To assign an event pipeline to a calendar type, edit the calendar type. In this case, we'll edit the Sessions Calendar type. Go to the Defaults tab and click the Select Pipeline button. This concludes our tutorial on event pipelines.